Well, hi everyone, it's Marcus and welcome to more Zooming in the Jungle Room. Today I'm so lucky because I'm going back to the 1960s, going back to the future, where I'm speaking to Little Pattie. Little Pattie, how are you, my darling?
I'm so well, and I'm really I love speaking with you. Everyone says you have the best hair, and indeed you do. And if you're going back to the 60s, you were nearly there. Had you been in the 60s, in the late 60s, you would have been de rigueur with that hair.
Oh, honey,
When
honey. I could have been your romping,
you would have,
stomping surfer boy back then, couldn't I? I could have been your
indeed you would have, but you'd have got your you could have been my boy
Danny.
easily. Mm.
Oh my goodness, we've got a little bit to unpack, Patty, because I've discovered
Let's
something
do
today.
it.
I actually had no, I know this is very serious. I found out something about you today that I had no idea about. I'm going to get to that shortly. But first of all, obviously, Patirica Thompson, you became huge in the 1960s, 1963 to be precise, as Little Pattie, your stage name, I need to always look at this because I can never ever say the name right. He's my blonde-headed, Stompie Wompie, real gone surfer boy. You were only 14 when that song came out. Some of those lyrics are a little bit racy. Did you know what you were singing?
Oh, I never thought about them being racy.
Oh,
I probably, when I was 14 in the 60s and singing, I was a shy kid and I was brought up to do as I was told. So when I realized that I was with professional people who ran EMI records, indeed they were wonderful, and that they knew what they were doing, when they said, "This is the song you're going to sing,"
yeah.
I sang it. So I didn't think too deeply about it, Marcus. Not
Because
at
I was
all.
watching the video clip to it just the other day, actually, the black and white version, um, and in the studio. And then, so you're singing, obviously, as a 14-year-old. And then this older gentleman comes in at you as playing Danny. And, that kind of stuff just would not cut it anymore.
You mean it looked like a sugar daddy or a potential up to no good bloke?
Well, maybe, yeah. Well, I don't. Well, I mean, there was obviously a very, very huge age gap. Um, you know, um, so I was just thinking, like, I mean, my goodness, I'm not offended by it. There's other things to get offended by in life, but
Mm.
I just wonder if you could get away with doing a video like that anymore, because so many certain people would come down on it, majorly because of the world we live in now. Cancel, cancel, cancel.
You're probably quite right. I hadn't thought about it, but times have changed, and we're in the era where we want to do things properly and inoffensively,
Mm.
correctly. Yeah, some people might have thought that was the case, but I've only heard that from you.
Well, darling, and look, like
Huh?
I said, I love it. I think it's brilliant. Um, After that, we're going to have a party tonight. Dance puppet, dance, stomping at the Maroubra. The hits just kept on coming. You are an absolute icon. In 2009, you were recognized, obviously, majorly, with an ARIA Hall of Fame award. I
Yes,
mean,
I was.
well deserved.
And
And this is
I
what
was,
I'm leading to. This is what I just found out, that you were obviously presented that by Chrissie Amphlett. And it is at this point that I found out that she is your first cousin, or was your first cousin.
indeed. And when you introduced me as Patirica Thompson, I thought, oh, that doesn't happen very often because I think of myself as Patricia Amphlett, married to Laurie Thompson.
Yep.
But yes, Amphlett is my family name. And indeed, Chrissie was my absolutely beautiful, beautiful first cousin. And I miss her every day. I have to tell you, Marcus. She was, were you a big fan? I'm sure you
Oh,
were.
I
I
love
know.
vinyls. When that
Yeah.
album came out that had Pleasure and Pain, Sleeping Beauty, that's when I fell in love with them. And that's when I started to realize all their back hits as well.
Mm.
The last time I saw Chrissie perform, in fact, the only time I ever saw Chrissie perform was she played Judy Garland in The Boy from Oz with Todd McKenney. And that was the first and last time I ever saw her perform live.
Wasn't she incredible? Wasn't she amazing?
Outstanding.
And she was doing that show actually not far from where I was living. And I'd do my gig. And if I got home from my, this is just a little bit of trivia, but it's how I love and think about Chrissie because we were close. And if I finished my gig earlier than she did, I would, I was in a pretty awful area that I was living in, well, a bit dangerous. I would take my dog for a walk, Harriet, who was a blue heeler Kelpie, and she looked scary, but she wasn't. And I would take her for a walk, and I would time it so that we would arrive at the backstage door at 10:40, which is when the curtain was coming down, and we'd get in, and Harriet would race straight to Chrissie's room, and she would be so excited to see Chrissie, and Chrissie would be, that's just a bit of silly trivia, but
I love.
Chrissie, that was how I will always remember our lovely times together. And we'd always have a cup of tea. Harriet would stay on the chaise lounge, of course, as Queen. She would be, that's my Chrissie, and she loved animals as I do.
Patricia, did you ever get a chance to sing with her?
Yes.
Wow.
When Chrissie sang in Sydney, she did many live concerts in Sydney.
Yep.
And because we're cousins, first cousins, you know about siblings naturally blending with harmonies, etc., and tones of voices, similar tones. And she would ask me if I'd do some vocal backings for her. And I did. And I'd go to the concert, but I would stand off stage with a microphone behind the curtains and do the vocal backing. So that was a thrill too. Look, we did so much for each other. And yeah, as I said, I miss her every day.
Now you have worked with, some of the major people of Australian music. Is there somebody that you've never worked with that you would love to collaborate with? You can say Kylie Minogue if you want.
Oh, I love Kylie. Actually, I
I-
have worked with Kylie.
Wow.
1988 at the 200 years birthday of Australia for some people.
Wow.
And we did a big concert at the Sydney Entertainment Centre, and we were all presented to some members of the royal family. So Kylie was just gorgeous, of course, is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
Some,
somebody that you'd love to work with?
no, I think I've worked with most people I'd like to work with, but can you think of any I should? I don't know. I'm very proud of Australian performers,
Oh, I
artists, and
think we've got some
so,
icons.
yeah, I don't mind. And I have favorites.
Yep. Who's your
And
favorite?
well, I was protected and loved and adored and looked after by Cole Joy and the Joy Boys when I was growing up as a
Yeah.
performer. And I spoke with Cole yesterday, actually. And so Cole's very special to me. Uh, and someone I really adore as well as a human being, and as I think he's the best male singer in Australia. I have to say, John Farnham.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
100.
know him? Gorgeous man.
Just,
He's lovely,
he's so bloody funny as well, isn't he?
hilarious. And
Oh,
I think the fact that he was brought up, in a ordinary family, perhaps a working class family, and he went on to left school and became a plumber. I
yeah.
think tradies, I hope they still have great senses of humor. Like that's what happens, doesn't it? When you're a tradesman, you develop the best fun.
Patricia, I'll tell you another male voice that I really admire in Australia, is Jack Jones from Southern Sons.
Oh, that's
Like,
another great one. I
incredible.
shouldn't have favorites, but I like so many of them. Glenn Shorrock, he's a fine singer.
Yep.
Daryl Braithwaite. So many good
We've
things.
got some
And
goodies,
as I
definitely.
said, we really push for what's the word? I can't think of it. But for the amount of people we have, which is still relatively small,
Yep.
about 27 million people, per capita, I think we dish out some really fine musicians and fine singers. I think we do very well.
I mean, let's not even mention the ladies. Come on. I mean, Renee Geyer, she was outstanding.
Oh,
Marsha Hines,
oh,
soprano. Um, we've
they're
got,
all just great, and great gals as well, good
yeah,
gals. And my favorite, am I allowed to have a favorite female singer apart from Chrissie?
do it.
And I think you might have spoken with her, Tina Arena.
Yeah, amazing.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
really, really good. So exciting. Hey, I mean, we could talk about all those others forever, couldn't we? But let's bring it back to you, Miss Little Pattie, because you are coming back to Adelaide very, very soon. You haven't been here in a little bit, so I'm so excited to have you back here. You are coming this Saturday, Saturday the 14th, and you're going to be playing at the beautifully renovated Her Majesty's Theatre that you have not seen yet, or in its
I
glory
know
renovations. And you're going
people,
to be playing at 2 o'clock. The show,
sorry?
the show is called The Good Old Days of Rock and Roll. It stars yourself, Digger Revell, Jade Hurley, Dinah Lee, Lucky Starr. Please tell us all about it.
Well, who'd have thought that our grand old age of 29 and some months would all still be, we've all continued our careers, but singularly. And this is a little idea cooked up, a grand idea cooked up by Jade Hurley and our promoter, Bob McKinnon. And they said, how about getting some of us youngies together to do a show all about rock and roll? And of course, we grew up with rock and roll. Our audiences still love rock and roll. But funnily enough, we've hardly seen each other together for years. So to be on a stage together, to be backstage together is hilarious. We just laugh our heads off, and we're having the best time in our lives, I think. And it really is. I'm not one to brag about our work because it's not nice to do that, but this is by far the best show I've been involved in for a long, long, long time. And I always say, make a promise that if you want to come along and see our show, I promise you, and you can go mad on me later if it's not true, I promise you will love the show. And it's not just for people who are our age, it's for people of all ages, but in particular, the people who, I don't like the term baby boomers, but they will get a real buzz out of it because they will be reliving their growing up years, which they were exciting. And I read a meme on the internet the other day, which really made me laugh and I adored it. It was written by a grandmother in her 80s or perhaps 70s. And she said, all right, you young birds. She was talking to young women who perhaps were in their late teens or early 20s. She said, you think you're really cool in your short dresses and you go out all night and you drink and maybe smoke dope and you do all sorts of things and you like lots of boyfriends, etc., and tell lies. And she said, we did all of that and more.
It's so
You're
true.
not so cool. She's saying we were the cool ones. You're nearly cool. But and I think some of our audiences are those women, aren't they? Who
Yeah.
had a great time when they were young and they have a great time when they come and see our show.
You know what, Little Pattie? I go and see so many kind of shows. I see everything, from the punk to the rock to the classic to the blues to, old school, everything. And always, without fail, the first people to stand up dancing are always the mature audience members. They love getting up and having a
I
good
know.
old time.
They decide to be uninhibited and who cares? And they have the best time.
Exactly.
So
Let loose. Dance like no one's watching.
You're very welcome to dance in the aisles of Her Majesty's Theatre on Saturday.
I'm going to. I'm going to grab Kerry from 5AA and we're going to be boogieing down the aisle. All right.
Please do,
I might
Markus.
even bring signs saying, "Yay, Little Pattie! Yay!"
You know, I've got a feeling that I might recognize you
I
a
hope so
lot.
because we're
Like,
friends now,
straight
darling.
away. Yeah, you with that beautiful
Hey, would
face.
you consider bringing out new music?
Uh, Probably not because I don't want to. Uh, Recording's not one of my favorite things to do, and I've done so much of it over the years. You'd think I'd be used to it.
Mhm.
Um, it's not my favorite. I do like live performance. Uh, the reason I'm not so keen to make records these days is because it's it's a bit of an unfair playing field.
Yeah,
Um, Spotify is not doing any performers
yeah,
much good, you know,
yeah, no,
and
correct.
that's the world in which we live, and other sites like that. So it becomes performers at the moment are feeling a bit used up, and so I don't need to feel like that. I don't think I don't
I
want to feel like
understand
that.
that.
So live performances for me are the go.
You better just keep on rocking it out then, because we're not over you yet.
Having said that, there are we've put together for the show a compilation of uh, many of our hits, all the five performers on the show, and you know that's available at our show, and that's
Awesome.
probably a fair way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, good. I like that. Hey, there's probably many, but what would be one of your top favorite achievements, proudest achievements?
Mm. Do you know? Mm, look, I've won a lot of awards, and I'm a little bit proud of them. Um, I'm very proud that I can these days give back. I've been teaching music for, and singing for many years, just quietly during my fabulous career. I'm lucky I've been able to manage the two. And um, here's a little buzz that I got just this morning. I finished teaching at a particular school a couple of days ago, and the next day I couldn't be there, or didn't have to be there, but my HSC student, that's high school certificate students, for next year were doing a particular exam which would be assessed for next year. And I found out from the director of music that they were all excellent and that they all did well. So I'm really happy when I hear things like that, because I can remember being that young performer, and but I was very shy and I was never quite sure if I was any good, or so every performance for me was a big challenge. And those girls that I taught to achieve those results, for them all of their singing will be a big challenge, and that they did so well, that's a thrill for me.
Hey, around the world, give me one of the up and coming kind of singers that are hitting the charts at the moment that you really admire and really enjoy listening to.
Oh, okay. Now these probably aren't making the charts, but from a singer's point of view, there are two singers I like very much. They're not young, so I should know. Maybe they're not up and coming, but two female singers. One's called Sydney Christmas, and the other one's called Glennis Grace. And they're both real proper singers, and they're in their 30s and 40s, but which is really weird. But they've appeared on America's Got Talent, etc., England's Got
Yeah.
Britain's Got Talent. So they're excellent singers. As far as groups are concerned, I love some of our pop bands around at the moment. I better not say any because some of them are my, but I do like the ARIA Award winners
Yep.
who won some awards recently.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sometimes I help out with the ARIA Awards, so I'm not talking about names. Um, yeah, so many good ones, you know, the Marcus, and
Yeah.
we never fail every year. as I said before, a small population in Australia, but we really push out some great young
True.
musicians. Yeah, I just love them all, really. And I know what they're feeling and I know how they feel, and that every performance, and you're judged, of course, by everybody by that very last performance you've done. So you know you have to make your next performance better than the last one. Does that make sense? Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, one last question. What are you doing for Christmas this year? How are you spending it?
Oh, this will be the quietest Christmas I think I've ever had. Um, I'm staying at home. My husband and I are staying at home because members of our family are doing the right thing and spending members with members of other,
Yeah,
how feminists do that. So
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
about that. So we'll be here on our own, and we live in a lovely location situated on the Hawkesbury River, not far from Sydney. Um, it'll be the two of us for most of the day, and then later on in the day, some relatives and friends and neighbours. Yeah. What about you? What are you doing,
Okay.
Marcus?
You know what? I go up to my mum and dad's house. So all the sides of the families come to my mum and dad's house, and we just drink and eat and talk and have fun all day. And it's just joyous. And that's one day where I absolutely stop. I don't look at my phone, I don't look at my emails, and it's just about that beautiful family quality time. So yeah,
Yes.
it's gonna
Yeah,
be.
and it's for all people, it's for no matter where you come from, no matter what your religion is. In Australia, Australia Day is for everyone, I hope. Not sure about that, but Christmas Day indeed is
Yeah,
for everybody who lives in Australia, no
yeah.
matter how
Just a
people.
reminder, isn't it? It's a reminder just to reconnect with the people that we adore and love, which we should be doing every day. But life gets in the way sometimes and it gets crazy and all that. But yeah, it's at least one day where you can slow down.
Yes, I agree entirely, and I wish you a lovely, lovely Christmas, you and your family, and a great new year. Looking forward to 2025. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yay.
2025.
I think it rings in really well. Everybody,
Yeah.
of course, we've been talking to Patricia, otherwise known as Little Pattie. Please go out and grab this. A few tickets left. There's not a whole lot, so you're gonna have to be really quick. The show is Saturday, the 14th of December, which is literally just around the corner. This weekend's coming, at Her Majesty's Theatre. Patricia, what an
At 2 o'clock.
at 2 o'clock. So it's a matinee, all right? So get on it, everybody. Um,
Exactly.
it's gonna
Marcus,
be,
you're lovely, and I
you're lovely.
loved, and you're terrific. Many, many thanks. And now I know why everybody else loves you.
Straight after the show, I'm coming back there for a hug and a cuddle, all right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. I'll see you. Thanks,
You
Marcus.
have a wonderful week. Bye bye.